I'm Scottish, and I've I had many occasions, many reasons to visit the island of Skye off the west coast of Scotland, big island off the west coast of Scotland. And over the years, I had heard tell of the wee black car, the small black car. Various people in fun and just for want of an interesting anecdote to tell you, would give a version of the wee black car on Skye. And suffice to say, from about the 1930s up until the 1960s, more people had an encounter with the wee black car on Skye than you could count. Locals, tourists, whatever, insiders and outsiders. And the experience followed a certain format. People would be on the road, and certainly in the 1930s and 40s, the roads on Skye were single track. And with passing places, those wide spots in the road where people would pull in to let the oncoming traffic or traffic moving faster from behind go through. So the experience was quite often single track, and there was an etiquette about pulling in to let people pass. And times without number, people would see coming in the distance a wee black car, usually moving fast, giving off all the indications that the person inside it or the people inside it were in a hurry. And so the inclination was for people to pull into a passing place to let this come through. And it would be coming on fast, and then it would go into a bend or into a bit of dead ground, and it wouldn't reappear. It would just vanish. People would go, I'm there, where did that car go? And it was a recurring story that people told. And it very often happened on the road on Skye to Caerleakin, which is where if you're on Skye and you're coming to catch the ferry, there's a bridge now. For a long time, there's been a bridge back to the mainland of Scotland. But at the time that I'm talking about, the only way from Skye to the mainland of Scotland was a ferry. And most of these sightings were on the road heading for Caerleakin, which is where you would catch the boat to go across to the Kyle of Lochalsh on mainland Scotland to continue your journey. And so hundreds and hundreds of accounts of this thing down through the decades. Local kids would look out for the wee black car anytime they were out. Tourists would turn up at hotels and checking in. They would say, I had the funny thing happened. I was, on the road here and wee black car disappeared. Yeah, heard it. That happens all the time. And then I can't remember the date now, it's in the book, sometime in the 1960s, there was a tragedy. There was a queue of cars getting onto the ferry at Caerleakin, heading for mainland Scotland. And one of the cars on this particular day was a wee black car, a wee Austin, a 1934 Austin. And travelling inside it were a man and two women and a child. And there's slight variations on the account of what happened, but it would appear that the man in question was a minister, a man of the church, and he was travelling with these other three, the two women and the child. And for whatever reason, getting a car onto a ferry can be a little bit unfamiliar or a little bit anxiety-inducing for people not used to doing it. And the woman whose car it was asked the man, the minister, to get the car onto the ferry. And so they swapped places. He got into the car. She was in the passenger seat. And something happened. There was an accident. And he drove it. The car moved at speed across the ferry and out the other side into the water. And it landed upright in the water. And it wasn't deep, but the car was submerged. And someone jumped into the water from the ferry, tried to break the windows. The driver, managed to escape from the car, but the two women and the child drowned. And apparently the minister who escaped was ruined by it. It broke him, the fact that he had he'd left behind two women and a child who had died in the encounter. And from that day, the little black car, the wee black car, was never seen again. So after 30 years of being a regular occurrence, it stopped. No one ever saw it again. So you're left to wonder if those experiences were all some kind of collective premonition of a tragedy to come. Not a haunting from the future. Not an event that had happened in the past that was lingering, but something terrible that was yet to come. And once it came, no one ever saw the warning because the time for warning had passed. Wow. And to me, it's one of two stories, really, one of a few stories in the book that I would say that haunt me. But the wee black car on Skye, I think, what is that about? So many witnesses to it before it happened.